My wife told her family I was paying their bills, without asking me. I didn't agree to support her entire family. I didn't even know I was doing it, until her brother thanked me for money I'd never offered. Good evening? Anonymous, please. I'm 29 years old. My wife is 28. We've been married for 7 years and have one daughter together. I've never been the type to keep score in a marriage. If something needs paying, I pay it. If my wife needs help, I help. That's how I was raised. My father always said, if your family is eating, everyone should eat. I've tried to live by that. Over the years, I've helped my wife's family whenever there was a genuine emergency. When her mum needed surgery, I contributed. When her younger brother lost his job during the pandemic, I covered 2 months of his rent. When her dad's car broke down, I paid for the repairs because he needed it for hospital appointments. I never complained. They always thanked me, and I honestly believe they appreciated it. About 4 months ago, I noticed our savings weren't growing the way they usually did. I assumed it was inflation, school expenses, the mortgage. Life is expensive these days. I didn't think much of it. Then one Saturday, my wife asked if we could skip our usual date night because money was a little tight. I agreed. The following weekend, our daughter asked if we could finally book the holiday we'd been promising her. I told her we'd probably have to wait another year. She looked disappointed, but she understood. That hurt more than I expected. A week later, I was at my father-in-law's birthday dinner. Halfway through the evening, my brother-in-law raised his glass and smiled at me. He said, I honestly don't know what we'd do without you. Thanks for taking care of all of us. Everyone nodded. I laughed awkwardly because I thought he was joking. Then my mother-in-law said, You've taken so much pressure off this family. I looked at my wife. She smiled, but didn't say anything. On the drive home, I asked her what they meant. She hesitated before admitting she'd been telling her family not to worry whenever they had financial problems. She'd say, Don't stress, we'll sort it out. Except, we usually meant me. I asked her to explain. She admitted that over the past year, she'd been quietly sending money to her parents and siblings from our joint account. Sometimes it was £100. Sometimes £300. Once it was nearly £1,200 when her brother fell behind on rent again. I asked why she hadn't discussed any of it with me. She said she knew I'd probably agree anyway. I replied, Then why not ask? She looked down and quietly said, Because I didn't want you saying no. That sentence stayed with me. Not because of the money, because she'd already decided my answer before giving me the chance to have one. The next day I went through our bank statements. I wish I hadn't. Over 14 months, almost £9,000 had gone to different members of her family. Some transfers I remembered agreeing to. Most I had no idea about. The holiday we'd postponed, the kitchen we'd delayed renovating, the savings we'd struggled to build. Suddenly, all of it made sense. When I confronted her again, she started crying. She said she felt trapped between being a good daughter and a good wife. She said every time her family called, she couldn't bear to tell them no. I asked, So you chose not to tell me instead? She nodded. Then she said something that genuinely shocked me. I didn't think you'd notice. I honestly didn't know what to say. Not because she'd underestimated my attention to money, but because she'd underestimated how much honesty mattered to me. Last weekend, her father called asking if I could help pay for a new boiler. Before I could answer, my wife said, We'll work something out. I stopped her. For the first time in our marriage, I said, No. Not until we decide together. The room went completely silent. Her parents looked confused. Her brother looked embarrassed. My wife looked at me as though I'd humiliated her. Maybe I did. But I couldn't keep pretending that generosity and secrecy were the same thing. We've barely spoken since. She's sleeping in the spare room. She says I've made her feel like she has to choose between her husband and her family. I don't want her to choose. I just want to be included in decisions involving the money we've both worked hard to earn. Part of me feels guilty because her family genuinely needed help. Another part wonders whether helping people stops being kindness. The moment it's done without your partner's knowledge. I still love my wife. I still care about her family. But I don't know how to rebuild trust when the person closest to me believed it was easier to spend our money in secret than to have an honest conversation. Men of Men Corner. What would you advise?